All right, folks. It's the one and only notorious, glorious Vita Gorilla Economist coming to you live. It's Monday. It's officially the real working week of the new year. So happy New Year to all of you that I haven't gotten a chance to say Happy New Year to. Recovering. I am recovering. I've been coughing up a lung, a spleen, my esophagus, and anything else that I'm not holding it in with inside me at this moment. But some interesting developments, a lot of things going on, and my main man El Cuco is out sick. I think he contracted what I had right through the airwaves. I somehow infected him. So again, folks, check quick, speedy recoveries and prayers to El Cuco that he recovers, and that we can go back and dominate the airwaves like we do. Folks, thank you all again for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you are alerted to when I am on, when we have guests on, when a program comes on. You will know that you are ahead of the curve. This is the place for all things geostrategic, geopolitical, geoeconomic. We break it down like nobody else can. We give you a real think tank view of what is happening in the world. And also check out our sponsors, folks. Check out RemainCalm.net. RemainCalm.net. And folks, we have a limited time, so if you haven't done so already, it is your chance to go one-on-one with the great one. If you go to RemainCalm.net, and let me go ahead and share my screen, so to speak. If you go to RemainCalm.net, you can go ahead, present to everyone, boom. You can go there and you will see we have everything from the blockchain trust, the 1099 buster, a lot of great programs. The funding programs are fantastic. That's a protection if people are coming after you. And right now, limited time special, folks. If you go there right now, you get one-on-one with the great one, an hour of strategic consultation. You want to know how I do things, how I run the gambit of all things guerrilla. Check it out. Then you get a book, a 1 hour call with yours truly, and we'll go by the play-by-play of WWGD. What would Gorilla do? That's right. What would Gorilla do? Okay, so check it out. And also, guys, if you haven't done so already, you can check out the Watch Us Trade. Let's go to What Live. There you go. What Live. What.live. That's a quick way of doing it. Okay, we got the amazing visualizing outcome. Learn by watching. Start today. 7 for 7, baby. 7 for 7. 7 for 7 is going hot. It's going live. It's a great way for you to get on board. $7 for 7 days. Learn how to move your cryptos with these two guys, Z and Cowboy. That's no lie. I mean, just look at the reviews. Absolutely stellar. There are people that have gained richly. They have gained richly, and they have gone from $7 for 7 days as a trial, and they're in it to win it. So check it out at watchustrade.io, also known as what.live. And with that being said, guys, let's get into the news. Folks, what I want to say is this. A lot of good things, a lot of great things are going to happen this year in 2019. And I want all of us to not miss it, okay? I want all of us to not miss it. Now, one of the things, folks, that I don't want you guys to miss is staying ahead of the curve. Excuse me while I get all my stuff together. Oh, guys, oh my God. You need to go to the Gadfly. Have you not been to the have you not subscribed to the Gadfly? I forgot almost to plug the Gadfly. How can I forget to do that? We just had our year-end roundtable, so go ahead and check it out. go over to the Gadfly. That's the gadfly.vhx.tv. That is the gadfly.vhx.tv. And go there and subscribe for less than $10 a month, less than $100 for the year. Make it happen for yourself. An amazing, amazing interview with yours truly, with Jim Willie, Ken Shorten, London Paul. We were all there. We're breaking it down like nobody's business. So check it out. Thegadfly.vhx.tv. The links should be in the description box. If it is not, I will put it in at some point. So now, one thing I will tell you, guys. One thing I will tell you this. I just got to handle this message real quick. Okay. There's been a lot of talk lately of trade wars. Trade wars. Who's winning the trade war? You look at some of these sleepy American pundits who don't understand quite the understanding of what real GDP numbers are. The guys who believe wholeheartedly the post-Carter administration GDP numbers. Those individuals will tell you that we are winning the trade war. But those of us who, thanks to people like Dr. John Williams over at Shadow Stats, has correctly and succinctly and clearly have defined what the real GDP numbers are. We're not swayed by any of these basic blather. Basic blather, folks. Just simple blather. We're not dissuaded. We're not somehow distracted by the fact that we're somehow coming out on top of this trade war thing. Here's what we have going for us, folks. Here's what we have going for us. China is the biggest exporter in the world, biggest importer in the world. But there is something that we have that no other country in the world has, folks. Do you know what that is? There is something that we have that no other country in the world even comes close to possessing. There's something that we have that, in fact, if you were to take the entire GDP of every nation in the world and calculate them all together, what we have supersedes even that. Now, you might say to yourself, it's something special. Oh, yes, it is. It is indeed something very special. Some of you might think this might be a great bargaining chip, a grand scheme that we have, because V is describing something grand, something amazing, something no other country has. But unfortunately, folks, it is to our detriment. What we have is the largest debt bubble in human history. What we have is the largest debt bubble in human history. We are a debtor nation. And I want you to just do the homework like this, okay? Historically speaking, debtor nations that try to go after their creditors do not fare well. It is even worse when debtor nations try to get into a trade war with their creditor. It is something that just does not work. So we're trying to tell the whole world that we're involved in a trade war. We're winning the trade war. So let me get this straight. You have a fictitious GDP number. We are crazy enough to think and count government expenditure as a sign of GDP growth. And folks, I've said this numerous of times. That is the equivalent of you and or I spending everything that we have in our savings account and telling our spouses that we have somehow increased the family's net worth. It is crazy. It is insane. You wouldn't think that at all. You'd be like, this is insanity. But that's what we have. We have the biggest bubble in the world, the biggest debt bubble in the world. And at one point, everybody was willing to pay because everybody understood that the bubble had an allure to it. It had a certain glamour, a certain sexiness to it, because if you dressed it up the right way and you said the right things about it, it had a way of enamoring you and making you feel rich. But there's nothing rich about it. It is a phantom wealth effect. An entire debt-based system that simply cannot exist. Every dollar that is created creates a dollar plus of debt. It can never be paid back. It can never be solved. It can never fix itself. You have a fictitious stock market. We have fake jobs reports. And granted, there is some green shoots, there is some vibrancy in life here or there to the Rignon, but it's not what you are thinking. It is not a multinational conglomerate coming here and digging up the soil in order to build a 2 million square foot manufacturing facility hiring 10,000 people. That's not what's happening. But yet we're somehow winning this trade war. You see, we have a full integration. You have deals being cut all over the world between China and Africa, China and the rest of the Asian countries, China and so many other partners. Deals that we could be cutting and doing a lot better, but we can't. But the problem is, folks, the problem is that we are stuck on stupid. The problem is we are stuck on stupid. The way we build is by dropping bombs. If you're in the first century, we build in ways where we bomb you to the Stone Age. If you're in the Stone Age, like in Afghanistan, we would just bomb you to the Pliocene age, if that's even possible. We have no answer, and we cannot compete with China on an industrial level. Do you get what I'm saying? You see, we've bought into, folks, dangerously, very dangerously, we have bought into the propaganda that we are somehow exceptional. That somehow, when it comes to the hard lessons of history, when it comes to historical, cyclical rise and fall of nations and empires, we are somehow exempt. We think we're so exceptional. At one point we were. We were the greatest nation to ever rise on God's green earth. The beauty of our Constitution. The beauty of our founding documents. The beauty of this experiment that we call a constitutional republic. The beauty of it. A concept that can only be held by a vigilant population. Fast forward to where we are today, and we have lost the very birthright that our founders have given us. We have squandered it. And yet we're thinking we're winning trade wars here. You see, the BS train can only run so far before it runs out of track. The BS train could only run so far before it runs out of track and hits the wall of reality. You see, folks, 2019 is going to turn out to be a very, very interesting year. Have people been arrested? Have they not? Who knows? W says they've been detained. He's had a good word. I'm gonna bring him back on. He's got some more. Here's an update for us. I take everything with a grain of salt. He even encourages you to take it with a grain of salt. So what's 2019 going to be like? What is it going to be like? How is it going to play out? Where's the trade war? What's the trade war? Who's the trade war? Huh? What's going on here? What's going on? Well, how about this one, folks? Over the weekend, some of you have heard that China has launched a satellite, or not a satellite, but a robot onto the dark side of the moon. And remember what I said. We cannot compete with China industrially because why? We're too broken. We haven't led an innovation for a long time. Look at the whole Huawei thing. That has nothing to do with the CFO of Huawei, doing business with Iran. Has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with containing a major U.S. competitor that is at least a decade ahead in technology. They're doing it and they're winning big. So China launches a probe to the dark side of the moon. This is over from our guys over at the hedge, the Zero Hedge. China's embarked on an ambitious space program, surpassing the United States in orbital launches last year, primarily for satellites. But don't worry, Elon Musk is going to send a car to the fake space production theater that he displayed for all of us. Elon Musk and Tesla is going to save us, folks, so don't worry about that. Look out, China. Elon Musk is coming. That's our answer. Meanwhile, in the land of adults, the stated purpose of Beijing's robotic lander is to collect samples and identify what minerals are there. And while the Chang'e 4 is unlikely to find precious metals such as gold, silver, platinum, there may be something up there that could serve as a lunar fuel station to the stars, as the South China Morning Post puts it. Helium-3. And the South China Morning Post, folks, they said it best. The fuel quest that could be driving China's mission. China thinks decades ahead, said Clive Neal, a lunar expert at the University of Notre Dame. The U.S. thinks in presidential terms. Boy, ain't that the truth. Last year, for the first time, the U.S. passed the United States in the total number of orbital launches, most of them for satellites. With the moon landing, China is now positioned as a contender for exploration, communications, and space commerce. The stated goal of Chang'e 4's rover on the far side is to collect samples and identify the minerals that are there. Primarily the element helium-3, which for now is too expensive to haul back to Earth. In theory, the non-radioactive isotope could be used as fuel for the next generation of spacecraft to explore deeper into space. Imagine driving from NYC to LA without gas stations along the way, said Peter Diamandis, the entrepreneur who founded the X Prize to encourage private sector development of spacecraft. If you can get the fuel from space, it reduces the cost. For those who would mine asteroids, the moon may be the better option if materials are discovered under the surface. Alex Ellery of Carleton University said that the moon's treasures would be easier to retrieve because it has gravity and is close to Earth. The next step is bringing humankind back to the moon, and there is debate in the U.S. whether to make a direct landing as soon as possible or build a lunar base that takes longer. NASA's top administrator has committed to the latter option. In other words, they can't do it now. They're going to build a space station. We'll see how that goes. Some people in the U.S. are saying that we want to get humans back there before China. Other people are saying that we've already run that race and America needs to be careful of rushing up allies. Elon Musk says there could be a government money involved. Oh, you know when there's government money involved, Elon could smell it. He has a knack for getting government money. The snake oil salesman that he is. China may be testing its ability for more sophisticated missions, according to the Neil of Notre Dame. Helium-3, folks. Helium-3. The next hot item. The next thing. So let me give you a full effect of what the hell's going on here. Right now, you're listening to me on your damn computer or your smartphone. Or your tablet. Basically, you're listening to me on a device on which gallium, infinium, vanadium, cobalt, lithium, rhenium, any one of these rare earth strategic metals are vitally and or crucially important, and silicon, vitally and crucially important for this modern technological age that we're living in. And guess who? Guess who controls that entire quadrant, that entire sector of rare earth metals and rare earth minerals and strategic metals and precious metals? Guess who has the corner on that? Guess who has the corner store on that? If you said China, you'd be damn right. If you said the United States, I would say guess again. Grab yourself a bologna sandwich, because that's the only thing we're making these days. China. And China thinks what? Decades in advance. Folks, what I tell you? They think in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-year plans. 50-year plans. We think in presidential terms. It's 2019 already. Dang it, can you imagine? It's like the damn elections was yesterday. And we're already heading into the 2020 elections already. Can you believe this crap? It's insane. It's insane. So here we go. China's got the absolute market. And what are they doing? What are they doing? They are going ahead and literally shooting for the moon to get what they believe to be one of the most vital components, which is helium-3. Helium-3, which will literally take nuclear fusion and bring it to the next level. And guess what else you need for fusion, folks? For fusion energy. What else do you need? Platinum. And who, pray tell, controls that? Well, China's partner, Russia, does. Why? Because platinum has the proper crystal lattices within a structure to allow fusion to take place. Helium-3, platinum, palladium, nuclear fusion, cold fusion. Here we go. Spacecraft. United States. Still waiting to build bridges. Still waiting to reconstruct paint some rusty bridges. Can't get an infrastructure deal going. Can't get a cohesive foreign policy anywhere. We got the Democrats back in office in the House. And folks, this has got to be the year that someone's got to go to jail this year. Somebody's got to go to jail this year. Because I'm not going to go into 2020 with the same old, same old. We don't have high-speed rail lines. We're selling each other BS. Again, like I said, there's some green shoots in this economy, but it's not enough for a turnaround. It's a big problem, folks. A big problem. And on top of that, the bankrupt West. You know, it's pretty funny. I was on Twitter. Yes. And when I was on Twitter, I'll show you this personally. Bing, 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 bing. Here's me responding to this tweet, but anyway. Jeez. Anyway, I was on Twitter and I saw the tweet that what's her name? Lauren Southern has put out there about China. About China. And what I put to Lauren Southern is that you have no clue what you're talking about, as you do not know the larger geostrategic economic game. I'm telling her to basically tune in, right? Because she wrote a whole entire thing about replying. Let me just see about how the West, China, this is what she wrote. China's Orwellian leadership and a century-based policy will give them global dominance in the next 50 years. The West's democracy and morality paralyze our ability to get anything done and will make it impossible to compete. It also makes our societies worth living in. Catch-22. God, I gotta bring this up. Let me see this. What this is. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, there she is. Okay, watch this, folks. And this is the problem with the West. Right there. China's Orwellian leadership and a century-based policy will give them global dominance in the next 50 years. The West's democracy and morality will paralyze our ability to get anything done and will make it impossible to compete. Folks, morality and the rule of law is not something that hampers any nation to get things done. What hampers the West in getting done is our stupid central banking concept, number one. Number two, what hampers the West in getting done is the banksters who control every aspect of our lives. The banksters and their apparatchiks in Wall Street, in the city of London, in Frankfurt, in Paris, in Milan, all these banking cartels that have destroyed, that have completely sucked out the very life of the physical economy. It is our suicidal tendencies that we have developed in the West that we can no longer compete. The United States of America, at one point, we had the best businessmen, the best salesmen in the world. Now we are the best bullshitters. We're literally the best bullshitters. Literally. It's not our morality that paralyzes, it's our stupidity. It's our stupidity that paralyzes us. So while they're going off into space, getting ready to be positioned just as they planned 15 years ago. Hey, you know what, guys? We're gonna rip apart this whole petrodollar concept. We're gonna break its back because the United States can't be trusted. They knew the day was coming. They probably even did it. They probably knew about it even farther back before then. There's something to be said about this, folks, that we cannot even respond properly. Something to be said about that. And on the heels of that, you have the IMF warning that the world is dangerously unprepared for an upcoming global recession. Folks, you know this. When the bad guys are all of a sudden caring about a global recession, I'm so concerned about a global recession. You know, something's up. And the starkest warning yet about the upcoming global recession, which some believe will hit in late 2019 or 2020, it's not going to happen in 2019 or 2020. 2025, 2026. You're going to see an equity rise. Don't look. This is again the selling of the FUD. The FUD is being dispensed. It's being seasoned. The FUD is being well peppered. It's getting ready to be dispensed amongst all the users, amongst all those who are fearful of heart, so that they may consume the FUD, dump their wares, so their wealth will go to those from weak hands to strong hands. Because we are on the last legs of the global liquidity hunt, and that's why we're going to see a massive pop up before we see any sort of a crash. In a crash, I'm going to crashing upwards into oblivion as the dollar dies from what I call monetary hypoxia. Monetary hypoxia. That's what's going to kill the dollar. Higher and higher and higher it goes. Where it will pop, nobody knows. And now we have the IMF's chief concern. Much of the ammunition to fight a slowdown has been exhausted, and governments will find it hard to use fiscal and monetary measures to offset the next recession. While the system of cross-border support mechanisms such as central bank swap lines have been undermined, warned David Lipton, first deputy managing director of the IMF, the next recession is somewhere over the horizon. And we're less prepared to deal with it than we should be, and less prepared than the last crisis. Let's examine what Mr. Lipton has said. It's somewhere over the horizon. Somewhere over the rainbow, the markets are crashing. Global recession is turning depressing. Somewhere over the rainbow, somewhere over the horizon. I love those words. Somewhere. We're less prepared to deal with it. Folks, we've fixed nothing. Everything that went broke in 2008, we've made it inexorably worse. We've made it tremendously worse. You couldn't get worse if you prayed for worse. If you said, Lord, give me worse. You couldn't get the type of worse we're having right now. Lipton told the Financial Times during the annual meeting of the American Economic Association, given this, countries should be paying attention to keeping their economy on a level trajectory, building buffers and not fighting with each other. You see, the dollar is dying. It's going to take a lot of fiat currencies globally, predominantly in the West, that are going to die with it. The bankrupt, insolvent West, on which the IMF is headquartered, on which the IMF, along with the World Bank, is one of its hydras. While the IMF projected a solid 3.7% growth in the global economy in 2019, in its most recent October forecast, the IMF set to release updated forecasts later this month. Lipton admitted that the growth outlook is being undermined by trade tensions, policy flaws, and weakness in Asia. China is clearly slowing down, and we think China's growth has to slow, but keeping it from slowing in a dangerous way is an important objective, he said, noting that a downshift would be material very broadly, not just in Asia. Countering the IMF's gloom at the same conference, White House economic advisor Larry Cocaine Kudlow said, "There's no recession in sight." He urged economists to ignore the swings on Wall Street. Who cares about the swings on Wall Street? I can give a rat's rear end. Even as many traders and some leading economists have pointed out that the new gloomy investor narrative could become self-reinforcing amid a renewed debate. The market leads the economy or vice versa. The market doesn't lead the economy, and the economy doesn't lead the market. There are two different things. I've been preaching this for quite some time now, folks, and if you've been following the rantings of the monetary monkey of mayhem, you would understand this. It is two different things. The market is its own rigged, controlled animal. And suddenly the markets are reacting as if there's a crisis of interest rate increases. Oh, God. He pointed out that although the Fed has been raising rates for several years, investors were only reacting to this now. This doesn't look rational, he says, drawing parallels with the 1920s in terms of the sudden shift in psychology when then the earnings were high, and the economy was moving well, but suddenly it crashed, and again it was talk. I think there was a new narrative that developed in 1929, just as there's a new narrative developing today. With the latest round of U.S.-China trade negotiations starting today, the Atlanta conference revealed widespread pessimism among economists about the chance of any rapid resolution to the current trade wars. Look, here's the deal. They're selling FUD. You and I and everybody listening, we know this thing's fake. We know it's going to pop. We know it's going to break. We know the U.S. ain't got no metals. We know we don't have a physical economy. We ain't got no gold. We don't have a stable currency. We have third world infrastructure. We have third world politicians, and we're in search of a third world currency in due time. See, folks, let me explain something to you. For the last several decades, especially since 2001, we have been in an accelerated search for a third world currency. We have been in an accelerated search for a third world currency. And soon, my friend, our third world infrastructure, our third world political class will finally have what it's been seeking for the longest time, a third world currency. That problem will be remedied very soon when the dollar is going to be completely taken out of the picture as world reserve currency officially forever. And that's happening. Trade war. The allure of our bubble. How long and for how far? For how long can we sell the world on how good our bubble is? How long can we sell the world on how good our phantom economy is? How long? Not long at all, folks. Not long at all. And when you're in the next few weeks, January going to February, you're going to hear a lot of economic bad news. You're going to see a lot of up and downs in the market. You're going to see a lot of up and downs in some assets. But let not your heart be troubled. We have a couple more years of this boom. A couple more years. And folks, let me tell you, the market could shed 3,000 points tomorrow. We're still in a bull market. I call it a massive correction. Yeah, you can call it whatever the hell you want. It'll be right back. It'll be right back. I don't worry about it too much. But what's happening is the FUD. The FUD. The FUD dispensing is working overtime. Overtime. And the same instance, the fundamental problems that are facing our nation have still yet to be resolved. And that's the main focus point. Folks, I would like to tell you again, check out our sponsors, remaincom.net. If you need to consult with me, go to there. Go to remaincom.net. You can go one-on-one with the great one. You can click on the service that says consult with V. And, let me teach you the guerrilla tactics on how to move in and out of cryptocurrencies, how to properly get yourself into gold and silver in the LBMA Good Delivery Network, which is the 300-year-old network. Also, check out the Watchers Trade Room. 7 for 7 sales still running. You got the Remain Calm. You got a lot of good stuff going on, folks. A lot of good stuff. And with that being said, also subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so when I'm on again, and when CJ and I are on again, we got guests coming on, you're alerted and notified. There's a lot of changes that are going to be coming to Rogue Money. Rogue Money, wow. Nostalgia. There's a lot of changes coming to Rogue News, so keep it locked and loaded here as we go through this transition. Exciting things are ahead for us. And with that being said, this is the Gorilla. We're over, and I'm out.